Star Wars Rebels Season 3 Episode 15, Trials of the Darksaber. Honestly, this is like the beginning of everything that I've been waiting for. For those of you who may not have seen my live reaction to the mid-season premiere trailer, I'll put a link in the description for that. But suffice it to say, I went through that because I saw it after the mid-season premiere and I was like, alright, I've seen this, it's cool. And then the Sabine stuff happened, and I was just like, I don't care about anything else, I want the Sabine storyline. So I'm super happy that it's starting right now, and this is a great first episode. I thought it was really good, not only for Sabine's character, but I thought it was very interesting for Kanan as well, because we get to see his advancement as a teacher, and he's teaching someone in a sense in the ways of the Force who is not attached to the ways of the Force. And I love that idea. I love getting to see that because it's so rare we get to see that in Star Wars, where someone who's a Jedi is training someone who's not. I think we've had it before where it's been the opposite, but I thought it was really cool. It's like, I like the idea that this is a guy who's a Jedi, and when they started this journey in the beginning of the series and he's teaching Ezra, it's like, alright, well, I was hardly, I really wasn't a Jedi myself, so me training you is kind of me training myself, and it was such a different process for him. And he's like, there are so many things I can teach you, and it's so different with Sabine. It's not, I can show you the ways of the Force, and this is how we connect to the Force, and this and that, and it's almost him really like stripping away the expansive ideals of the Force and taking it down to a very base level, because that's just the way he has to teach Sabine, not only as someone who's not a Jedi or anything like that, but also as someone who's even more stubborn as a Mandalorian. So I love the way they did that. I thought it was very well done, and we go through, it's kind of funny and stuff in the beginning, and we have the trials, and Ezra is actually training with Sabine, and he's teaching her the stances, which some of you can probably imagine from my name, I loved, because it was very samurai stuff in this episode where they're doing the stances and everything. I was like, this is actually really cool to watch. So I love that, and then it goes through, and we kind of get to the portion where Sabine has her breakdown, and so she gets, and at first she gets a kind of a boost in confidence. She gets the arm braces and stuff. And so that was a great sequence. I was kind of hoping we get to see her use that a little bit more, but I'm sure they'll be saving that for future episodes. But we get to see her use the gauntlets, especially the first one, which I thought was really cool, because that one's not in the trailer. The one is basically like a sonic blast. I thought that was really, really sweet. And she has a bit of confidence. She's able to take down Ezra, and then she tries to kind of challenge Kanan, who is pretty much shuts that crap down. He's like, get this stupid crap out of my house, and he shuts it all down, and he takes her out really fast. And I was like, she got a bit too confident, and then as they go through, she realizes it's not as simple as she thought. Like, just getting that little boost, or being, that extra little bit of her Mandalorian lifestyle being given to her, it wasn't enough. It wasn't, that's not it. It still has to be her as, a different person almost, where she has to accept the things that she's done and accept why she doesn't want to go back and why she needs to go back and how she can confront her past. And we actually get that at the end, which was a phenomenal sequence. That was probably one of my favorite endings out of the whole series, was her going against Kanan. And at first, it was already really good, because it was her starting to, not only her accepting herself, but it was also Kanan. Because like I said, him going through this episode and him freaking out because he's so caught in the ways of the Force, where it's like, she's at odds with herself, and she's, unbalanced because she wants to do this, but at the same time she doesn't. And Hera's trying to teach him basically, like, this is what you have to do. You have to give her the weapon, because by constantly giving her basically like kendo sticks is what they were, you're helping her commit to not actually committing. And I thought that was really well done. She's like, of all of the team members, I'm the only other person that knows what it's like to have your family just let you go and not really give a crap. And I was like, she's got a perfect point. So of course Kanan does listen to Hera, and when he gives Sabine the lightsaber, or the Darksaber, it was just great. And like, when she first strikes it up and everything, and she mentions like, oh, it's heavy and stuff like that, and he talks about the energy of it, and the blades clash, and it's like, the lightning kind of searing off of the Darksaber onto the lightsaber, and he's like, there's kind of a pull to it almost as the blades clash. He's like, do you feel it? You have to control that sort of thing and use yourself as well as the blade as an extension of yourself. But obviously the blade is its own thing, so you have to learn to make it an extension. And I thought it was great, and they're going through the forms and stuff, and it starts off slow, and then he's like, you're making it easy on me, and they go through it, and it actually scared me. I think it was after he said, you're making it easy on me, and she stands up and pulls the blade out again, or strikes it up. He kind of scared me because he jumped at her and he did the numbers really fast. I was like, ooh, that kind of scared me a little bit because he went at her so fast. But he goes through, and then he starts to realize that she's pushing back too much, and she's channeling it physically, but she's not expressing it, and he brings that out in her. And I thought that was an amazing sequence where she talks about what she did to save her people and how it basically kind of backfired on her, simply wanting to help the people that she cared about and that she used to know. And they go through this great fight sequence where, it starts off where Kanan is just dodging all of her strikes and he's taunting her and stuff, and then he realizes, he strikes up the lightsaber, and that's when they start going up this incline, and it just starts to get crazier and crazier because she's striking so much harder, and he knows that, he's defending because he has to kind of let her get it out. And then they get to the top, and she kicks him off, and she jumps down, which also she jumped really far. I don't know if that was showing something, because I'm like, she did some flips in this episode. I think it was before the ending sequence. There was a part where she flipped and she was on the ground and she flipped kind of far, and I was like, I don't know if that was just she flipped kind of far, or if that was a force thing, but I was like, that was a pretty far jump to me, a far flip. And then the end of the episode, after she kicked Kanan down, what I feel like was a pretty high cliff, because she was talking for a solid, 15 seconds before they reached the top of it, and then she kicked him and he fell all the way down, and she jumped down. I was like, that was a pretty far jump. That, I noticed how far that jump was, and I'm like, that's not how Mandalorian armor works, so you can drop like that. So that might not mean anything, but it was something I noticed. I was like, I don't know, she might be a bit more force sensitive than we might think. It might not get, of course, to the point where she's finding out she could train as a Jedi, but I thought that was very interesting. I was like, that was a far jump for her to just make it. But we've kind of seen, I don't know, I feel like they have a good balance of that in this show, where of course we have Kanan and Ezra who can do force jumps and stuff like that, but we don't see that from other people who aren't force sensitive, where they do inexplicable jumps and things. At least not that I can recall, where there's been something that's happened, I'm like, I feel like they shouldn't have been able to do that. So this is the first time I've noticed it, at least. So maybe it has definitely happened before and I just missed it, but definitely took notice in this one, where that was like a 15 to 20 foot jump, and she just landed right on the ground. I was like, I don't know. I mean, granted, it's also Star Wars. She's technically not human, different things like that. But loved it either way. I thought it was a phenomenal ending to the episode. And, I wish I could remember the guy's name. The other Mandalorian guy was there. But he's like, this might not be what you want to hear right now, but I would follow you. And then, Ezra says the same thing. And he's like, I'm serious about that. And Kanan says, basically, this is your family, and this family won't leave you. And it's kind of just up to you, where we go now, because you've kind of confronted it. But now it's up to you if you want to take the next step to actually confront the other people involved in the equation. So, phenomenal ending. Little hint as to what they might do with Sabine and Bandu, which I thought was cool because he showed up in this episode, and they didn't go anywhere with it. I figured it was him because they focused on the part where Sabine was, and she'd been gone, and they just held on this random thing. I was like, it's probably going to be him. And he turns around, but that was it, which I also thought was weird that she wouldn't have heard this giant lumbering thing turn around towards her. But I was like, okay, he was there during that little moment between Sabine and Ezra, which is another interesting thing because of how tight-knit this episode was with so few characters. They showed quite a bit. This, I honestly think, is the most we've seen of Sabine and Ezra have just alone time in the series for quite a while. And it was very interesting because of the way it went, where, of course, Ezra is the youngest out of the team, and Sabine is going into this new element of her character, and so he's training her, and he's trying to help her. And of course, they haven't touched on this in a very long time, like him having feelings for her or anything, but it was just something I noticed, because it was like he was the one, of course, who went to help her. But it's not just that they referenced it in the past, but also they are the closest in age, and also they are very similar as far as some of the issues that they've had, where they face the Empire and just dealt with it in very specific and interesting ways. So I thought it was good that they actually had some alone time in this episode, and the way they ended, where Ezra mentions like at least you have a family to go back to and stuff like that. I was like, that was a good moment for them to have, and it, like I said, it didn't focus. It didn't even need to focus on them possibly having a relationship in the future or anything. But I thought it was really good that they had such a good pairing in this episode where they went through something so different. Where Ezra was almost an apprentice as a teacher, a little bit, and I just thought that was really well done. And it's him somewhat teaching as Kanan is teaching as well, and Sabine having to learn how to confront her past as well as be a new type of fighter, and all the responsibilities that would come with that if she chose to do it, which, as she even says herself, that's kind of why she was fighting against it in the first place. She didn't really want it. She wanted to fight, but not really have all the extra stuff that comes behind, the forefront of battle. So I thought it was great that they actually had some alone time in this episode, not only with the training, but especially that sequence where they get to kind of dive emotionally into some of the stuff they've just gone through, in the past, and some of the things that Sabine has been keeping from everyone because it's just, so personal. But love this episode. Really excited for them to get into the Sabine stuff. If you've been following my reviews, you probably know how, I'm not as excited. I might not seem as excited as I really am, but I'm, losing my mind waiting for these next couple episodes because all I've wanted was more Sabine stuff, and so I just can't wait to see what they do with this. I just can't wait to see how it plays out. But love this episode. We'd love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And this is going to be a pretty significant arc with them, not only focusing on Sabine and her dealing with her family history, but also her rallying Mandalorians. That's rallying a whole new army to help fight the Empire. So there are two really big elements that are going to come from them using Sabine in this way. So I would love to know what specific elements you guys would like to see. If there's anything that you think has been missing, or something you think has been missing as far as character interactions with Sabine and other characters. As far as ideals of Sabine's character, because she typically is, all the characters really is kind of just like, we're rebels, and that's pretty much it. Outside of Kanan and Ezra, where they get, we get to see the Jedi stuff and the ideals of that and the Sith, everyone else is just like, yeah, we fight the bad guys, and that's it. We don't get to see a lot of in-depth stuff. We get the family stuff, but we don't get, actual ideals and almost the psychological side, which is, they don't focus on it as much in, mainstream media in Star Wars, but if you're a huge fan, it's definitely in there. The Force itself is very psychological stuff, even though it's, mostly shown in hey, you can fight with lightsabers and use the Force. But I'd love to know what you guys want to see from these elements that they're using with Sabine, and in general, where they're headed with Mandalorians, because there's some stuff, for those of you who may not have seen the mid-season premiere, or mid-season trailer, there's some other elements that are coming into there. It's not just going to be a simple path to Sabine doing what she wants. So I'm very excited for where they're headed with this. But like I said, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode, and we'd love to know what elements you really think have been missing, that you think really need to be in this kind of short. Hopefully it's not super short. I would love for it to be the rest of the season, but I doubt it won't be. But the Sabine arc, where what elements do you guys think they need to incorporate into these next couple episodes with her? So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.